we'll go ahead and get started as other people pop on. But my name is Amanda Richards. I'm so glad to have you guys join us. So we are talking about women's health today. And I think that all applies to all of us because we are women. And so no matter where you are in that season of life, we all have different things that we are currently dealing with or have dealt with. I know for my sister and I, when we started having a monthly period, we were literally in bed with cramps, throwing up every single month. Like, it was just awful. And in our young living, and my sister started using Progressant Plus, and it literally gave her life back. She wasn't in bed anymore. She wasn't having those profuse cramps, and she was able to keep going to work just because of this oil. And I didn't give it a chance until after my second daughter was born. I, for some reason, never got the chance to have like no period after a child. I just kept going, and I was still nursing. And so my second child, I had 2 periods a month. And after month 5, my health decided to plummet. It was done trying to nurse the child and have 2 monthly periods and try to deal with a very stressful period of life. My sister came and moved to Australia, brought this along with her, and it literally stopped my period. And I had 4 months where my body could breathe and start healing again. So this guy is amazing because we are so estrogen dominant. This oil is a natural progesterone. It is from wild yams, so it's not going to cause cancer. It has a label on here that says this product contains an ingredient known in the state of California to cause cancer. Well, that is a synthetic progesterone, but they have to put it on every single progesterone product known to man, natural or not natural. So that's why the statement is on there. It has frankincense and peppermint and copaiba, which is amazing oils for your skin. And so a lot of people, the side effect they see is younger looking skin. And who wouldn't want that? So I've actually seen that myself. You don't have to cycle it, which is amazing. Another oil that I've seen super helpful is sclerescence. I am trying to think of how it helps because it just makes me feel amazing. So sometimes you just need that extra support when you're hormonal. That's where it helps me. And frankincense just calms my nerves a lot. But that's kind of my story of how I got started when I realized, oh my word, the things that I was using since I was a little kid really impacted when I got to junior high, high school. That's when my genetic skin condition came out. That's when my hormones went out of whack. That's when I ended up losing my first baby. And I really honestly believe it's because my lifestyle was so toxic. I didn't realize I was not eating correctly, and I was using candles nonstop. I was using all of the conventional things to clean my home with, laundry detergent, everything, you name it, that's what I used. But I didn't realize those things literally have been linked to causing hormone disruption and hormone imbalance. And so it was until I had to go through those hard times that I realized there is natural things that we can use. So tonight, I'm so excited that you can hear from amazing women that have also seen it super helpful. And so I'm going to let you hear from Krista, and she's going to tell you her story.
All right, I just realized I was muted. Okay, so my story, I'm going to try to keep it brief. If any of you guys have questions, I'm happy to go into a lot like more detail one-on-one, but just for the sake of the class, I'm just kind of going to give you an overview. But not too long before I got married, so it's been about almost 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a hormone disorder called PCOS. So it's actually very, very common. A lot of people have it. It stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. And guys, I just remember like going to my doctor because like, you know, like I knew like my cycle was off like all growing up. Things were really weird, really funky. And so I like went to the doctor and just kind of started asking questions, and they gave me a diagnosis. So that was, you know, somewhat helpful. But then I just started, you know, kind of trying to dig a little deeper, so, you know, get like some information from them about, hey, so what can I do to make this, you know, better? Is there anything I can do to help? Why, you know, did this happen? And really, I'm like not gonna lie, they didn't have answers for me. They really didn't have a solid answer for why I had it. They said like maybe it's genetic, maybe not. You know, we're really not sure. Their only solution as far as like helping me was to put me on a hormone birth control, which I did for 6 months. And guys, I've never been like sicker in my life. Like it was just terrible what it did to my body. And so, anyways, they told me that infertility was probably going to be a side effect. If I was able to get pregnant, the likelihood was that I was going to have to be on medication to, you know, for that to happen. And so honestly, I just like was not okay with those answers. Like I was just like, no, like that's not like, there's got to be a better answer out there. You know, like God created my body to work correctly. And so if it's not, there's a reason for it. And so I started digging, and it was right around that time that I was introduced to essential oils, actually through Amanda's sister. And I bought my first starter kit. Guys, like, if any of you like haven't jumped into the essential oils world yet, and you haven't like gotten started with a starter kit, they range from like $125 to $165. The one I got was $165, and like I'm not gonna lie, it's the best $165 I've ever spent in my whole life. Like it was just so like there have been so many benefits that have come out of that initial purchase, and so just started to change things, started to work on just habits like Amanda said, getting rid of candles and taking swapping out my cleaning products, like getting off any sort of medication I was on. And very long story short, we were able to have so far 2 precious little babies, no like medication needed, nothing like that. Like I just have gotten my body to a point where like I don't even have those PCOS symptoms anymore. And it's just been amazing. So it just has been so life-changing for me. Honestly, I'm just so passionate about sharing it, like that information with other people. So I'm going to just go over just a little bit about some of the research I did early on that was so eye-opening for me, and that is really what like sealed the deal for me about started on this like non-toxic essential oil lifestyle. And so our generation, if you think about really like the sickest generation we've had, at least in a very long time, quite possibly ever. If you look at kids today, like kids are sicker than they've ever been as a whole. It seems like every kid has ADHD or asthma or, you know, like chronic something that they're dealing with. One of the things I learned, and this blew my mind, is that so cancer is the second cause of death in the United States right now. 5 to 10% of all cancer cases come from gene defects. So that's a very, very small percentage. That means that 90 to 95% of all cancer cases in the United States come from environmental factors, diet, like there's a list of things, but it's things that are under our control, not just like a gene deficiency. 1 in 10 women struggle with infertility. That's a high number. Like that's a high number of like women's bodies to not be functioning correctly. The ingredients in our products are problematic. They contain carcinogens, known chemical ingredients that cause gene defects, infertility, like all of these things. There's no warning label required on them. And the reason for that is that back in 1976, there was this like act that was passed. It was called the Toxic Substance Control Act. And it essentially grandfathered in all of these toxic filled chemicals that had been on the market for decades. And it grandfathered them into all of our products. And so the soap you use to wash your body, the, spray you use to like clean your counters, all of those things that are just like common products in our homes are able to have these toxic ingredients in them. And so because of that, we're seeing so many health issues today because, people just think, hey, there's a like regulatory system in place. These things are safe. But the truth is there's really a lot of ingredients in them that are just not safe for us. And so that was really the information that got me started. Step back and say, hey, there's got to be a better way. Let me start looking. And that's when I found Young Living. So Amanda, that's all I've got for that.
So I'm going to show you really quick. This is what we're going to talk about Young Living a lot. And unless you know their story, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So when you get a kit, you actually get this awesome brochure, and it talks about their story. They started 25 years ago, but before that, the founder was researching and doing essential oils 20 years before that. So there's 45 years worth of research and knowledge of essential oils and how to distill and what they're looking for. And so they actually have farms all over the world. It's not just a US thing. They have a farm in Croatia, and they have a farm in Oman for the frankincense, and they have a farm in France, and all over the world, literally, 3 of them in Australia, New Zealand. And the awesome thing is they get the plants where they're growing at the peak. All of the farms have never had chemicals sprayed on them. And some of them, if they have to lay dormant 50 years. Well, the FDA's regulation is 7. So they just go far beyond anything we would require for organic or for high quality. They like jump that and do the next level. And it's just amazing. So they do third-party testing, but their vision is to get essential oils into every home because they know there is such an amazing power and support these plants have on our bodies. And so Young Living has the research backing and the capability to reach every home. And so it's awesome that when I bought a starter kit, I actually saw them work within the first week. And so I jumped in, and then I actually told my sister, and my sister had issues, and now she started telling Krista, and she told friends. And this is actually every person that's on here has a friend that told them. And that's what makes Young Living so unique, that it's not just a starter kit of oils, it's actually a community of friends helping other friends find health. Because if you buy these oils if they had a retail store and you just went to the Young Living store, you wouldn't know how to use them. At least I wouldn't. I had a naturopath that literally walked with me for a year or two, answering all of my hundreds and hundreds of questions that I would send her daily and weekly, like, okay, now what do I do for lemon? Okay, now I'm struggling with this. What should I use? And so that's what's amazing with Young Living is it's a community of people that are gathered together to start researching, empowered to take our health into our own hands. Anyone on our team that gets a starter kit gets one of these books, and it literally will show you what to do for anything that comes your way. And then you have friends that are walking alongside you. So that's unique of Young Living. That's just like a bite size. If you want more, I'll share we can share their Seed to Seal link with you, and you can watch, all of the steps that they go through. But that's just a nugget of why I love Young Living, and I know you will too. You will see a difference if you use their oils. Krista, I'll let you share Katie's story and then your story.
Okay, so my friend Katie, she wanted to share her story tonight, but she ended up having to work. So she gave me permission to share for you guys because it just, in her words today, she said it may be the best thing that's ever happened to her. And so she was like, yes, please, tell them they will probably need to hear it too. And so my friend Katie had like debilitating periods. So she like to the point where she would go to urgent care. She couldn't continue to work like when it started, like just seriously like major issues. Like guys, to the point one time she was told that she was like, she went to urgent care and she was told that she was like having a miscarriage. It was like not even an option. Okay, like she knew that wasn't true. And so she was just like, what's going on? She had like, the doctors did test after test after test. They never had an answer for her besides birth control. But like they still don't have a diagnosis. They're not sure, what's going on. And anyways, she started with Young Living. She tried, a few things. Some things helped, but then she was reading up on it and she decided to try Dragon Time, which I meant to grab my bottle of, but I don't, but she decided to try Dragon Time. It's an oil it's a blend of oils specifically designed to help like women on their cycle. And guys, like that was the key for her. She is now she uses Dragon Time every day, but especially when she's on her period, she is now able to like work like it's like she's not on her period. She's able to like live a normal life that before she couldn't. Like it literally was like a few days of like debilitating, like on the bathroom floor throwing up, like not able to do anything. And she like literally her words this morning was, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then she goes, well, maybe not, like obviously there's a family Jesus. Like it was really like a game changer for her. So that's Katie's story. If you're struggling with that, I can get you in touch with her. I'm sure she'd be happy to, dive into more details, but Dragon Time was a really big one for her with that. So my story, I know you guys heard a little bit of some of it. I'm going to chat just for a minute about the supplements that I used during my pregnancy and then postpartum. So Amanda already mentioned Progressins Plus. This right here is a gem. In fact, I'm pretty sure at least one other person's going to mention this oil tonight. This oil is really good for all stages, really, of like women's health. And so I use this during pregnancy. There's this book right here that I just want to like shout out. If you have more questions, I think it's like $10 or something. It's really cheap, but it's called Taming the Dragon Within. And it literally just walks you through like oils and supplements and like so many different things that you can use for different like hormonal problems or like things that you might be experiencing. So like this book was the first thing that keyed me in to this oil being very helpful in the like early days of pregnancy. Because a lot of women that suffer from miscarriages, the cause is because they've got low progesterone. And so this was one that I use especially during the first trimester. So I just like put that on every day. The next supplement I used was multigreens. And I take this daily anyways, but I just upped my dosage during pregnancy because it was really hard to keep food down and you like need greens. And this is just like such a solid source of like whole food greens. The next one I took was sulfurzyme. This one is really good for like energy and it helps with like joints and like muscles and things like that. But I really mostly took it to like keep my energy levels up. So that was a really good one for that. The next one, Super B. Okay, now this one I took primarily, I take it like all the time anyways, but I make sure I don't miss a day of it when I'm pregnant because it has folate in it, which for all of you that have had babies, folate's very important. However, most prenatal vitamins, they don't actually have folate, they have folic acid in it, which is the synthetic version of folate. And like the folate version is like from a whole food, it's so much better for you, so much better for your baby. And so this was a big one for me. The next one was just Super C. So it's a really solid whole food C vitamin. Obviously, when you're pregnant, you don't want to be getting sick on top of that. And so just made sure to boost my immune system every day. And the next one's, Omega Gize. This has all the omegas, like it's a 3 fish oil complex. This one I took my third trimester because in this handy little book, it talks about how, especially in the last trimester, as your baby's brain is developing, your body pulls a lot of your omegas for your baby's development. And so if you don't have good like omegas in your system to cover both your baby and you, there's a lot of things that could happen from that. But one of the like key things that the book talked about was that can be a cause for a lot of people's postpartum depression. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of that can be linked to it. So I started taking these in the third trimester and then continued through the first like 2 or 3 months after my baby was born. So that's a really, and then the next one is Life 9. This is a probiotic, just a really, really good supplement to help your gut health. So that was just a solid one. And then the last one I took is the like supplement of all supplements. If you don't take anything else, like take this. It's called Ningxia Red. It comes in these little pouches or a big, beautiful bottle. Ningxia it's an antioxidant drink. It's formulated with essential oils and then the wolfberry. And it's got like some other fruit juices and stuff in it. But this right here has so many good nutritional benefits for you and for your babies. And so I would take this every single day. We do anyways too. I give this to my 2-year-old, my husband and I both take it. But I just like up my dosage and made sure I didn't miss a single day when I was pregnant. And then the like hours leading up to delivery, I started drinking Ningxia like crazy. And it like really helped, I think. Like it was so good. Like, anyways, I'm not gonna get into my whole birth story here, but baby was born in 3 hours is all I'm gonna say. And then on top of that, so like drank some Ningxia, and then afterwards, like I had one of these bottles that was unopened probably like 4 hours before my baby was born. By like 24 hours after that, this whole bottle was gone. I like drank a whole thing, like just like I would just sip on it like all day long in the 24 hours after. Guys, like I was home from the birth center within, I don't know, like 8 or 10 hours of my baby being born. I felt great. Like I was like, sitting down and not doing anything because that's what you're supposed to do. But like, I felt like I could take on the world. And I know like a big part of that was for sure the Ningxia, because I only drank a little bit of it after my son's birth. And I was like, really like I felt so much more exhausted and stuff the first time around. And obviously some of that is just first birth versus second birth and stuff like that. But I did just like the Ningxia was a game changer for me in that. So those are the supplements I use. I would recommend all of them.
Thank you so much, Krista. I will say I had a similar experience. I will say though, for me, Ningxia Red, I could not drink it while I was in labor. The contents is so nutrient rich. My body had to focus on the delivery of the baby. So I had to dilute it a lot because I ended up throwing it up when I was in labor. But afterwards, my first baby, I lost 2 liters of blood. And I was in the hospital a lot. It was just a really bad birth. The second time I ended up doing the same thing, but afterwards I was able to chug Ningxia Red because they wanted a blood infusion, and then they said, well, we'll just do an iron infusion. I was able to walk out of the hospital 12 hours later without either of them, and I just chugged Ningxia Red. So my third baby, my body didn't do that, didn't lose all the blood, and I felt amazing. 4 hours later, I was at home after having my third baby, and it went so well. So Ningxia does help your body heal from the inside out. But I will not go into my birth story. I have a YouTube story of that. So if you want to watch it, it's on my YouTube page. But I'm going to let Lydia share with you the oils that she used during her birth.
Hey, so I've had 3 babies in 3 years, and it killed my body. But my first pregnancy, I didn't have oils until like the 2 months before, we had moved to Ohio, and we had come back to come back to Missouri for fellowship week. And I met Amanda while we were, well, not met Amanda, I knew who she was, but I ran into her while we were there. And I had seen her home birth story with her third baby. And I was like, oh my goodness, I want that. And so I messaged her. I'm like, can we meet and talk about oils and pregnancy and labor and all that? And so we met. Well, then when I kind of used some oils before then, but then I ended up going into labor and not, I went into labor overnight and didn't realize it until it was like, okay, we need to get to the hospital. So we got to the hospital. I didn't have anything with me, any oils or anything with me. And it was, out of all three of them, it was the roughest pregnancy, or the roughest labor I had. And I couldn't relax through the contractions. They were really they were back to back, and I couldn't really breathe through them or anything. And so he finally came. It was like, I think I was in labor for Friday night into, he was born Saturday at like 10 o'clock. And I almost had to have a C-section with him because my water started leaking, and even though I wasn't dilating. And he finally did come after I ended up having an epidural, and then I had to have Pitocin because with my water leaking, they were concerned that I was going to run out of fluid. So my first pregnancy was horrible, or first labor was horrible. My second one with oils was amazingly different. I went through, we had to be induced because he wasn't coming. He was a week late. And I had used oils through that. I have really bad morning sickness, but it's like all day, every day. And I've lost 15 or 10 pounds the first pregnancy, and I think it was only gained like 15 pounds the second pregnancy. And so I used a lot of peppermint and a lemon, put lemon in my water to help with that because I was so sick, it's ridiculous. And with the actual labor, I diffused white angelica in the hospital room. And one thing I loved about it was not only was it relaxing for me and helping with my contractions, but all of the nurses loved it, and it helped them relax whenever they were coming in. And like almost every single nurse commented on it and asked about it. And so I was able to share with them why I had it in there and like what it was helping with. And the crazy thing for me was where it got to the point with my first labor, where I got the epidural, I couldn't breathe. I was only at 4 centimeters, and I was struggling. And I have a high pain tolerance, and I was struggling. With my second pregnancy, I didn't even know that I was having back-to-back contractions. Like I didn't even know that I was getting ready to go into labor until they're like, yeah, your contractions are back to back, and they checked me, and I was about ready to go. I was like at 7, I think, and I couldn't even tell it, and that was just with the white angelica. And so I used that, and then after the white angelica, or after he was born, we used frankincense and myrrh with him to help. I forget why we did that, but I remember we did it because it was one that we had specifically brought for him. And then we diffused Peace and Calming, and I have it over here. We used Peace and Calming and Stress Away, and then Gentle Baby as well for him. I have a horrible milk supply without like any supplements or anything, and so I used fennel, rubbing it on my breast to help produce milk, and it's helped a lot. I drank the Ninja Red through the pregnancy. I couldn't drink it with labor, but I did drink it throughout the pregnancy, and it helped a lot. I also ended up using my second pregnancy. I used clary sage because we were trying to get him out, and he wasn't coming out. So we use that one, but only that one you're not supposed to use until like you're ready, like it's around like 39 weeks. So we used it then. And that one, the blend that I saw was clary sage and geranium, but I didn't have geranium, so we just used the clary sage. And let me check my notes because I have horrible memory. Oh yeah, afterwards, I was able to relax with lavender and kabaya, or whatever that one's pronounced. And what was the other one? I don't remember. There was one other one, lavender, kabaya, and something else. And then Panaway I used for cramps with like the uterus contracting, going back to its normal size. And I had really bad, especially with my third one. Apparently, we were told the last one that it gets worse the more kids you have. And the fact that I had them so close together, my first two are 13 months apart, and my second and my third are 18 months apart. And they said the more kids you have and the closer you have them together, the worse your cramps are. And I was using a lot of Panaway and the white angelica. And then I used Valor and Joy. Valor helped with just helping me relax. And then I have a lot of back issues, and so that helped there. And Joy was just for emotional support, because there was a lot of stress, especially with my third, with Sophia. She has a brain abnormality, and so there was a lot of like stress with her pregnancy and labor, just because they're trying to figure out what's going on, if there's like what's causing it, if there's going to be any like issues that she needs to have. And so we use that. I did use the sclerescence, which they already talked about, and there was another one that they talked about too. And the Progressive Plus. I use that one too, but I don't have that with me right now. So I think that's everything. I don't know.
That's awesome. Well, here's the thing. And if you don't have all those oils, just get a kit. It has a lot of those oils in it. Just the oils really is the key. Like, right? It helps so much. Thank you so much, Lydia. That's amazing. Rhonda, would you mind telling us your clary sage story?
Sure, I don't mind telling it all. Just so you know, it's a very short story because that's how well it worked. I have migraine headaches. I am prone to them, and I've gone through a period of time when I didn't have some, but one day at work I was having a really bad one, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Tears are forming in my eyes because I can't control the pain. And one of our team members came in, and she had on something, and I said, "What do you have on?" And it wasn't a perfume, and I knew it was an oil, because as soon as she got close, everything just left. It was immediate. I have never had that outside of prayer. I have never had anything like that happen. And so she was trying to think of what she had on, and then she ended up telling me, she said it was clary sage. So I went through a long period of time that I did not have any of the migraine headaches, and they started recurring again. And so I said, could you bring it just so I could sniff the bottle? Because I hadn't got any yet. I now have some so I can sniff my own bottle. But it's a really simple story, but whatever it was that was triggering the migraines, it reacted immediately. And it's probably my go-to. Now I make another one for my husband, and he seems to really like it. I don't think he's going to appreciate clary sage, but I do. And that's honestly my simple story.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. And I think that's the amazing thing is they work really fast. Mandy, do you mind sharing your story? Oh, you're muted.
No, I'm not.
Awesome.
Okay. So approximately 2 years ago, first of all, I'd like to say that our bodies change throughout our lives. And so what works today or what worked yesterday may not work today. And that's probably the theme of what I would like to say tonight. I started actually when I was 33, 33, I started using, and I'll just put out a little tube of it, Progest. It was something very similar, and it's just a wild yam supplement. And I used that for a few years, and that worked well for a season. And then it started not working well. I started having some issues with it, so I stopped. Then years passed, and initially I started using it for chronic fatigue. Like I was just really worn out all the time. But I did have 3 children, and they were, 2.5 years all apart. So about 2 years ago, I started with bad headaches, and they would not let up. And it coincided with some of the other changes that were going on in my body as well. But it was really severe, and they were debilitating, and they would just not go away, and they were daily. And I've never had migraines, but yet these were bad headaches where they were starting to affect my work productivity. And I talked to Krista, and she said, you really need to use Progessence. And so I went on to Progessence, and I started using that. And I had wonderful success until about November, December, this past year. And I started having some challenges again. And so I called up Amanda, and I said, what do I do? Or Krista connected me with Amanda. And she said, well, here are some options for you. I had been to the doctor, and I had had my levels all measured. I had my progesterone as well as my estrogen levels. And, of course, the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. They did a complete workup on my female hormones. And so I kind of found out where my body actually was prior to making any of the decisions that I made. Knowing I had been taking progesterone, I felt like I needed to have something that was possibly mimicked the estrogen. And so I started on Fimogen, and I can show it to you right here. It's right here, Fimogen. And I brought up, just a second, I've got to look at my screen. I brought up all the pages of what it has in it because I can't remember and I can't see it. So I was going to try to pull those up. I'm trying to. Oh, here they are. Okay. Can I share my screen? Is that possible?
Yes. Do you see share screen on the bottom? It's green. You see that?
Okay. It says the host disabled my participant screen sharing.
Okay.
So you have to enable me to share.
Okay. Can you do it now?
We'll try. I believe I did it. Trying to see. I'm not sure what you're seeing.
I don't see anything. It said, how I had it, it said one participant can share at a time. Now it's multiple participants can share at a time.
Can you see something, Ben?
I don't see anything.
Okay, I can blow this up where I can read it to you.
Okay.
It has in it, and I cannot pronounce it all, but it does have at the very bottom the ylang.
Lang.
It has, and I'm reading from the bottom up. Okay, it does have clary sage in it. It does have fennel in it.
Mm-hmm.
It has squaw vine and cramp bark. It has black coash. You're going to have to help me on pronunciation as we go up. Licorice root. Puama. I don't know. It does have the wild yam in it as well. And I'm just going to butcher these words, but you get some idea of some of the ingredients of this product. So again, it's called Fimogen, and I started on that, and that has the symptoms that it's helped for have been skin breakouts, night sweats, and headaches too. But I have combined that with Progessence. And then one other thing that I did that I really feel like has helped with other related symptoms was I used the Super B and calcium. And those were two products or two vitamins that my doctor stated were low. They weren't necessarily insufficient, but they were inadequate, I think. There's a difference. It wasn't chronic, but it could be supplemented. And so I've been supplementing with those, and I have a little bit more energy. I'm still having some symptoms, but for this season, it meets a better need than what I was having. I have more success at this time than I was having. So we'll see what the next season holds. But for today, I'm okay. And that would be what I would say, just as life goes on, that you have to find out what works in that season. And when it doesn't work anymore, you need to go back to your doctor, seek counsel, or, seek all your buddies that are Young Living experts and get some advice. So.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mandy. I'm so glad those have helped. Actually, since you were talking about them, I'm thinking I probably need to get some Fimogen again and start back up on it. My body is showing me it is needing a little more support. So thank you.
Okay.
Carolyn, would you like to share how you have used ER to buy your stuff? Are you on here? I think I saw her on here, but I'm not sure. Are you on here, Carolyn?
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm so stupid.
No, you're not.
So I am so sorry. I was completely thinking we were talking about that I was thinking about the class for Saturday that I was talking about ER.
I can do it. You want me to do it? And you can do it.
Hey, I mean, I can talk about, I don't have my stuff with me right now that I was going to present, because I was going to show, like, here's my Target haul versus here's my Young Living haul. But yeah, if you have something, go for it. Because I thought it was for Saturday that I was doing that. I'm so sorry.
You're totally fine. Well, we just wanted to wrap this up because we've mentioned a ton of different things. And I'm going to give a toothpaste to one of the people on. And what I wanted to do as we wrapped up was just share how it doesn't have to be all of a sudden you buy all these things, because it could be $300 or whatever, and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't afford that. But I was talking to some girls earlier today, and before we used Young Living for my family and I would get everything from Walmart. And I realized I don't want Walmart health. We've all been on people.com or walmartpeople.com, and we know we do not want Walmart health. And so I realized that I needed to up my game in the quality of products that I was putting on myself and my kids. And with research, like Krista shared, we literally as moms and grandmas have a huge responsibility for our little ones, that with just our toothpaste and just our shampoo and the fragrances we have in our house, like replacing them with essential oils instead of candles, and what we're washing our hands with every single day, has a huge impact on the long haul of our life and helping our hormones be what they need to be. And so Young Living has a thing called Essential Rewards, and I actually just got a box today, but I put it around my whole house. So one of the things that Young Living does is they have two ways of shopping. You get a starter kit, and you instantly get a membership to Young Living, which gives you 24% off of everything that they offer. There's never fees, there's never a requirement to ever buy again, which is amazing. But then you get 25% off. There's 700 items that they offer. And they're crazy high quality, higher than your Target haul, and you can get them shipped right to your store. So it saves you on gas, and it saves you on having to buy snacks at the store for your crying children and the stress. And so what they do is there's two ways to order. You can do shop. You can do that as many times in the month. You can ship it to yourself, or you can choose to just send one box a month through ER, and you're going to get points back on that. And so the first 3 months you get 10% back, which I can find a card that would give me 10% back. Target only gives me 5% back when I shop their Target card. Then month 4 through 24, I got 20% back. There's literally no credit card company out there that will give me 20% back on my toothpaste, my laundry detergent, my dish soap. Like, no one will do that. And then after 24 months, it is 25% back, which has saved me so much. So for every $100, just for easy math, we're going to say I spend $100 a month. Well, within 4 months, I have $100 for free that I can spend on anything that I want with Young Living. So every 4 months, I'm getting a free shopping cart, literally, of my choice. That's amazing. But one other thing that's cool is Young Living every single month has all these promos that they're just going to give you for free. So this month they're giving this really cute picnic blankets with citronella, which, hello, keeps our mosquitoes away. And I found out it's really good for skin and blemishes. And I've seen it work on my skin. Peace and Calming, which was the oil that I used during labor that took away my back pain. Seriously, it did. And then I have used it for leg cramps and sleeping. It is my go-to, my favorite oil for perfume. And then they have a couple other oils. If you do a $250 order, they're adding in Kunza oil. It's similar to frankincense. And then at 300 PV, it's Cool Azul, which I have their pain cream, which has Cool Azul in it. Guys, it works. It is crazy. And anyone I have handed a little sample packet, they're like, I need that. It's fast working, gets really deep down. So Young Living is passionate about helping you save, helping you budget, and then also getting, like, stretching your dollar as much as possible and giving you free things. So I just buy my toothpaste and my regular things, and they're putting all these oils in my box for free. And so my oil supply is also growing just because I'm buying my regular things that I would buy at Walmart. And guys, I'm not going to have Walmart help. Let's just say that. So I'm going to pick a winner, and my winner on the random wheel was actually Ashley. I don't know if you can see that, but Ashley, you won toothpaste. And so I'm going to send that. So if you don't mind messaging me on Facebook and telling me your address, I'm going to drop that in the mail for you. Let me get back. So I don't know what your next step is, but contact the person that sent you this class and let them help you figure out the next step. If it's getting a starter kit and start using oils in place of the things that you were using, or maybe it's you need to get a plan to go in chemical free within your budget. We would absolutely love to help you do that. Thank you, ladies, for all sharing, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you again.